Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In case you're new here, my name is Kim. This is Core Union. Today I want to talk about manifesting in general. I'm going to touch on subjects of health, money, things related to your specific person, just because I feel like this is a necessary video so you guys realize that you're not doing anything wrong. But when you're kind of becoming fearful of yourself always doing it wrong, then it's just that your reality is going to keep mirroring it back to you. So that's all that's happening because your reality is your consciousness. That's all it is. So when things end up happening, whether it's around money, health, relationships, things with your specific person, it's not that you've done anything wrong. It's just that let's see a delicate way to put this. Your awareness and focus with a lot of passion and feelings just on the opposite of what you actually want. But that's the only reason. So this is whether you had a major loss of money, or if you're not able to, you believe that you're not able to manifest the money that you deserve. If you are having a problem, something with your health, or if things with your specific person, when this is something that is pulling you from deep within in the core of you, that's because that end exists. And I also like to say that that's because that's the highest and best, the most ideal version of your life and your reality. And there are infinite potentials at every given moment. And so every moment, wherever our awareness is what we're conscious of. The power of that is expansive. Before I get further into this, if you love my content, please do like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you want me to be your coach to help you manifest your specific person back or change the dynamic or anything related to career, health, money, finances, promotions, anything at all, feel free to email me a short description to kim@coreunion.com, and then my scheduling assistant will get back to you. You can do a single session or a package. When I was really learning how to hone this skill, this would have been back in 2005 and 2006 when I first started to consciously choose my thoughts, choose them wisely, and remain focused on them, and to also allow myself to feel into it without worrying about if this was going to fail, because I was allowing myself to have high expectations in trust, because I made a promise, a vow to myself and to God. From that, from my perspective, there is no separation, and God is not a separate entity from me. That is the most intimate relationship of oneness that I started cultivating back in 2005 and 2006. So I always felt that I could trust whatever was in my heart and soul, no matter how lofty the goals seemed to be. I always knew that when I would keep my mind and my focus and my attention and my awareness on what it was that I wanted, that anything and everything that had to happen was happening in that moment. And there was an excitement that I had. And I also trained myself that whenever I have any doubt at all come up, I would correct myself and say, no, I trust in my end. I trust in God. I trust myself. I trust in my abilities. And I know that this is happening because I know my end exists. So I made a deal with myself not to go down the rabbit hole, not to worry. When I was manifesting things related to health, money, love, all of this stuff, there were plenty of challenges that would come up in the 3D, but I never allowed those things to stop me. I was completely 100% focused and determined in trust and knowing that no, this does not define me. I am in complete knowing and believing that everything that I'm experiencing right now is it's part of the, I didn't have these words, but now when I think back, it was part of the bridge of incidents that had to happen. And again, I had this excitement knowing that all of this stuff was brewing behind the scenes, that if people's minds needed to change, they were being changed. If this person had to go through this thing to learn this to then show up for me in this other way, then that's what was happening. If different circumstances with different businesses and all of that, if that had to shift and change, then I knew that it was happening. And when I wanted to manifest success with my business, I was at some point in the beginning, I was making nothing. There was always crickets. But throughout the day, when I was there, even when I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor with cardboard boxes as my nightstands, from my perspective, I made thousands and thousands of dollars and I had thousands of happy customers and I was being written up in major publications, newspapers and magazines. It was award winning and people were excited to meet me and couldn't resist buying their home decor and interior design needs, whatever it was, through me. And I had 5-star Google reviews. Do you see what I'm saying? And so I would set my mind to that early in the morning. And I would live from the end of having these experiences early in the morning. And I would always tap in from the top, that I would go right into my breathing and tap into source. God is my source, not the 3D, not the economy, not even my clients. God is my source, and God is in control of all of this. My experience while I was watching other small businesses, especially around 2007 and 2008, while I was watching everyone else kind of go out of business and be miserable with each other and ask me if I wanted to meet with them, telling me that they were creating these different like nights where everybody would get together and talk to try to be strategic and plan different ways to deal with the city's depression or whatever it was. I was like, heck no. I politely declined it, but I was like, no way. So I would just politely decline and be thankful and grateful that this isn't my experience. Why? Because my business is God's business and God's business is always successful. Again, not separating God from me. And this God to me was not a religious God. This had nothing to do with religion. God is within us, and God created us to create for God. And so I trusted in that. And so again, I would make the decision, this was going to be, this is what I have. No matter how many days, nights, months, weeks, no matter how much time passed, no matter how many times I was knocked down by circumstances in the 3D, it did not sway me. Did I have painful moments? Of course I did, but I didn't stay in it. Instead, I would every single morning, I would allow the fears and the doubts and the limiting beliefs to just purge out of my mind. I would see my shower as being that I was being cleansed, that I was allowing everything, all of my fears, always my worries, my limiting beliefs, my doubts to literally purge out of me and leave me. So then I would turn music on and I would do this little process. It was almost like tapping, but it was my own thing. And then I would let the music that I was listening to shift and change my energy, and I would move my body. And while I was feeling my energy, I would imagine that this is what people feel when they meet me. This is what people feel when they look at my website, when they look at my social media. This is what they feel when they're bragging about the interior design job that I did for them. This is what they feel when they're writing the 5-star Google reviews of my business and the amazing treatment that was given to them and the value that they got. The value exceeded any amount of money that they spent with me, and they spent a lot of money with me. I was focusing on $100,000 a month. That was my number. Once it reached a certain point where I was bringing in that kind of money, if a day went by and there was crickets in the store and nothing was happening, in my energy and in my mind and in my imagination, it still happened. So I would go home and I would walk into my home. I would cook dinner, listen to music. I would celebrate all of the success. And I would sit back on my sofa feeling so secure and feeling wealthy and feeling excited. And I would look at all of the other things that I wanted to manifest in my reality. Again, this is whether I was actually, when I was actually making money or if no money at all was coming in. And then I would just trust in my guidance and I would take inspired action when it felt deep in my core when it was like a piercing feeling, whether it was getting a new location for the store or purchasing this or purchasing that, taking all the money that I just made and then reinvesting it into something else into the business. And it's the same when it comes to your specific person or health. I've come on and I've told you stories about how I manifested my Range Rover. I've told you stories of how I manifested healing, a torn rotator cuff in my shoulder. It was truly torn. The MRI, it was truly torn. I was told I was going to have surgery, that I wasn't going to have mobility. And for a good amount of time, I couldn't move my arm. But then I became aware of a stem cell procedure that is perfect for torn rotator cuffs. And that you just go in an afternoon and they literally take an injection of your stem cells from like your hip or your butt and they inject you into your shoulder. That's literally all that it is. And within days, weeks, or months or whatever, the stem cells repair the tissue instead of having to go through a surgery that statistically typically fails and has to be repeated more than once. So I became aware of that. And then I focused on that. And I was so busy with my business that all I did was I kept planning on getting it done, planning on getting it done. And then I would do my own little exercises at home. I would do my own little exercises and I would visualize having full mobility, that my shoulders are perfect. And because I knew that there was something that was available that was non-surgical that I was going to have done when I had the time, I ended up with full mobility back in my shoulders, in my shoulder that had the rotator cuff tear. So I was able to move my shoulder in a way that was anatomically impossible for having a rotator cuff tear. When it comes to your specific person, when you know that there's a deep love between you and your person, and this may not be for all collectives, but I'm sure it'll still inspire you. If you can feel into being with your specific person, and maybe right now in this moment, right now as you're watching this, maybe you're in a little bit of a mood where you're not believing it or you're not trusting it or you're feeling sad, and that's okay. You will come out of that. But if there was something deep down inside that said, this is my person, this is my one, the reality where that exists, where you are with your person, exists right now. Time itself is a construct of our human conditioning, and there are always infinite potentials with everything. So I want you to remember, number one, that infinite potentials and infinite realities are existing all simultaneously in every single moment. The way we are shifting in and out of timelines, quantum physics is simply what our awareness is and our expectation and our belief in something. And realizing that we are not solid as much as we appear to be solid. Nothing in your reality, yourself, your person, your pets, your home, nothing is actually solid. This is not woo-woo. This is just the way it is. Every single thing is energy. So if you think about wanting to focus in on being in a relationship of equality, of mutual love and respect, of the two of you guys cherishing each other, trusting each other fully, the two of you guys, if there was issues because of fears, because one or both of you guys were hurt in relationships in your past, the end exists where you guys got over your past and stopped blaming and projecting the wounds onto each other and let go of your baggage. They let go of their baggage, you let go of your baggage. And you guys were able to learn how to have healthy communication and trust each other fully and love each other and really give everything that the two of you guys deserve to each other, to have a blissfully harmonious relationship. You just don't want to be focused on contact or text, okay? But anyway, that end exists or you wouldn't be able to feel and want it. You want to experience the version of yourself who is trusting, who is adored, who's always feeling secure, who's always peaceful and relaxed, who's always experiencing being loved fully with no measure, being able to feel happy and secure and vulnerable and have fun and laugh And that's also the version of your person that you want to think about, and only that version of your person. Granted, knowing that in the 3D, there still will be challenges and there will be moments where there'll be disagreements. And that's okay because now you guys actually bring out the best in each other. You trust each other. And if you're in each other's fears or wounds, you don't project it onto each other. That's the goal, right? You will experience whatever version of your person that you believe in and that you feel into and that you trust into the most. So you want to stay only focused on the highest and best version of yourself and the best version of your person. So in the case, for example, of somebody who has had movement with their specific person, whether they're male or female, because sometimes you guys actually ask questions like, does this work for men too? Like, this is just the way life is. But let's say that you have a story that your specific person is an avoidant. So the story that comes along with a person that is an avoidant is that they were in a relationship with somebody, that they got hurt, that they don't want to go down that again, that they don't want to be in a relationship because they're afraid, as an example. So if you continue to see your person as an avoidant, then you will keep experiencing that version of them because that's what you believe. That's the concept of yourself with them. So while you don't want to fall into the trap of I'm doing this to change them or change them outside me, I'm not saying this for that reason. So please don't fall into that because it's all what you believe. It's your concept of yourself with your person. If you got movement with your specific, oh my God, with your specific person, for example, and then you guys got close and communication was getting better and better, and you really believed that this was it, but then something happened in the 3D and you started to get anxious and edgy again, and then they pushed you away again. Maybe they called you something. Maybe they just, whatever the case is, because everybody has different circumstances. But you fell into the story again. And then you got frustrated and impatient. That's all that happened. That's it. You just fell for your previous manifestation again. So all you have to do is forgive yourself, forgive what you believe they said or did, forgive it 100% and drop the story and only see the end of the two of you guys that you got past it. And no matter what has to happen, in order for that to happen, you have to have trust that that part is not up to you. That part is happening through however you want to think about God. Okay? Let's just put it that way. It's not your job to figure that part out, but you have to just trust it and live from the end. So maybe it will end up looking like they end up going to counseling, or maybe you'll end up going to counseling, or maybe they'll end up, you don't know that they might be watching YouTube videos right now trying to figure out a way to stop pushing you away. Maybe they're reading books. Maybe they're just coming to the conclusion and realizing I need to stop pushing them away because this is the love of my life. He or she is everything to me. She did nothing but love me. And I want to experience this. I'm tired of going through this in my life. I'm tired of pushing people away. And I know that God, universe, source, brought them to me. They're my true love. And I'm not going to do this anymore. I am tired of living this way. And I can't get them out of my mind or heart anyway. So I am going to, that's it. I'm letting it all go. And I'm going to let myself be loved by them. You want to be thinking of things from that perspective. So if there are third parties, for example, whether the third party is in the form of another person, or if it's in the form of some sort of a habit or something that they really love, a hobby or their work. First of all, there's nothing wrong with people having interests. So you should actually want them to have interests and hobbies because you should also want to be, you should be looking into the things that interest you and hobbies that fulfill you as well. Just because somebody's interested in something or they're busy doesn't mean that they're not loving you. But then when you go into your feelings about it, oh, they're not paying attention to me, they're not giving me enough time, that's your baggage that you're putting onto them. Because as soon as you actually allow yourself to be prioritized because you're seeing yourself as a priority for yourself and you're loving yourself and all of this stuff, then they can actually show you that they love you. But when you're doing it from this perspective of they don't have time for me, they're not loving me, they're not giving me what I deserve, then you haven't let go of your old story. Allow yourself to only focus on the version of yourself that has the things that you want in terms of money, health, and love with your specific person. Don't keep your awareness and focus on the things that you don't want and on the things that were said and done, because those things that were said and done don't friggin' matter. They're literally just manifestations of your previous fears, worries, doubts, and limiting beliefs. Trust that everything that needs to happen is happening right now, and just live your life and be happy. Stay focused and aware on the highest and best and most ideal version of yourself, your life, your specific person, and everyone else in your reality. Okay. And that will allow you to be able to experience the things that you want. Focus on your inner world and your imagination and have trust that you're doing the right thing. And one more thing I want to note before I end this session. A lot of times when you guys are constantly doubting yourself and then wanting to watch things over and over, like wanting to constantly seek because I don't trust that my inner work is working, I don't trust myself, that habit is actually a 3D trap, because that's what causes confusion. That's what causes you to not realize that you're already doing enough. It can really put people into a lot of staying trapped in needing to do more. You have to trust yourself, okay? Just trust yourself. I hope that this video helped. Please do comment down below that you've received this message and that you are going to start trusting yourself more. I love you. Have an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Nothing can come, nothing can come, nothing can come between us.